What's up, everyone? It's Roger and James here from Infinity and Beyond's DisKingdom.com. So we're going to be discussing all things Disney video games this week, including the Disney Infinity online shutdown program that got announced this week. We're also going to be discussing Marvel Alliance 1 and 2 and sharing thoughts on what's happened with the launch and also some thoughts on the game. Plus, we're going to be discussing Cinderella coming to to Disney Magic Kingdoms and Pirates of the Caribbean coming to Disney Crossy Roads and a lot more. So, James, you've had a good week this week?
Oh, yeah. It was a good week. Very busy work-wise, so I didn't get quite as much done as I had hoped, but I still got plenty of time to play some Crossy Roads and some Magic Kingdoms, so...
Yeah, I must admit, it's first like full week of the kids' holidays over here, so I have been mental at work. So that's it's been like this is the crazy period for me. It's just like, right, let's get to work and get going. But there's been lots of video game stuff this week. I was expecting kind of maybe a light week, but it was actually kind of quite. We had kind of a couple of decent updates. And then some big like Disney Infinity news. I was literally in the middle of a department store and I had an email come through and I looked at it and went, okay, right, quickly trying to install an app while I'm in there so I can upload a story while I was literally sat on the chair and while my wife was trying on some new clothes for our holiday. I was just like, right, okay, let's get this.
We do what we have to, right?
Okay, yeah. Yeah, you do what you have to do. But yeah, so I think we might as well start off with the Disney Infinity shutdown date. So I'm just going to go through a little bit of details first before we discuss what it is. So Disney Infinity basically outlined the timeline for the closure. So they're going to kick off basically saying as of the 29th of July, no in-game purchases can be made within the PC, Steam versions, iOS or Android, or basically everything of Disney Infinity 2.0. So that was basically they've shut down 2.0 at that point. Players can continue to make in-game purchases within the Steam version of 3.0. So then, as of September the 30th, players will no longer be able to log into the PC, iOS, Google Android, or Amazon versions of Disney Infinity, which obviously is the original version, and these will no longer be available on their representative app stores. The Steam versions of 2.0 and 3.0 will remain operational with the exception of the all online services and community features, which will then be continued. The Apple TV version of Disney Infinity will be removed. Now, I wasn't sure Disney Infinity was on the Apple TV, but I don't know if that was 3.0 for the Apple TV version.
I thought it was just 3.0, so maybe they mean 3.0, but I don't know.
Yeah. Would make sense for the Apple TV version on that one there. And then the Disney Infinity community team will no longer be reviewing or approving any new toy boxes that are submitted to Disney for all console, mobile, or PC versions. However, when playing on a console or Apple, players can continue to download their favorite toy boxes from the community section until March 3rd, 2017. January 3rd, no in-game purchases can be made within the Windows 10 version of the game. And then on March 3rd, 2017, Apple TV and Windows version will no longer be available, supported, or playable. And then all Disney Infinity online services and community features for the versions will be discontinued. Right. So, James, what did you think of all that news when it came in?
Well, most of it's pretty much what we expected. Now I'm just glad that we've got dates and such in there. The one thing that I had issue with is here on September 30th, that last bullet point, they're talking about not reviewing or approving any more toy box games, but they haven't been anyway. As far as I know, there's nobody approving games. There's nobody who can approve games. So I don't know why they're saying that on September 30th when that's been true since the day the game cancellation was announced. So,
yeah.
Or, sorry, a little bit after, but right around that time.
Yeah, that was the first thing that jumped to my mind was the fact that date wasn't really there. It was, they haven't really been saying anything about, people sort of being able to upload their toy boxes and stuff and being approved. Like you said, nothing's been approved for a while. I'm going to be honest, my gut reaction, first off, the move to March 3rd, I thought was good. compared to what it might have been the end of the year. That's an extra 2-3 months. So that was a good thing. And I thought that was long enough away from now to kind of feel like that was been giving a little bit of announcement of what's been going on, and long enough to kind of keep that system going. So I thought March was actually quite a good date for that. What I was a little bit funny about was too many dates. There seems to be too many dates. It's a bit of a mess of how they've done it. It almost feels like they should have had maybe the one date for September the 30th for one thing, and then March 3rd. Don't have, I mean, that weird random one in January for Windows. Why that? And then it just seems like a weird way of trying to do it. And this was picked up a lot by some of the big gaming websites that just said it was it's a complicated timeline because I think they just wanted one day or one. It does seem a bit odd.
I mean, part of it is we don't know the development side of things, so we don't really know why, say, January 3rd has to be Windows 8 and 10. Maybe there's something on the Windows Store that requires a certain date. We don't know, but yeah, it's very weird that we've got this long timeline of things that you would expect to happen all at once, or maybe 2 different days. One day we disable the app so you can't buy them anymore, but if you still have them, then you can use them, and then a second day where everything's just off. But there's got to be a reason.
Yeah. I was going to say there's probably definitely a reason for it, but it's I just don't. I'm going to be honest. I think the other things that kind of jumped out to me from this timeline close down was the obviously making like 2.0 and 1.0, shutting them down as quickly as possible makes sense. They're slower games. If there can't be that many people still using them, but especially the app version, I would have thought most app users would have moved over to the newer version.
Well, I would have suspected that most of the app users would have been moving over before the game was even canceled, because all the apps stopped getting support around the time Zootopia came out. I think.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, carry on.
No, I was going to say, I think iOS and Android might have continued on. I'm not sure. I never used either of those past 1.0. But I know Windows never got the Zootopia characters or anybody who came after that. So.
Yeah, I must admit, I've tried all 3 of the different apps over the years. Basically, the 2.0 basically was the case of, do I want to use my iPad or do I want Infinity, because it was the hard drive was the entire iPad was basically would be taken up. And just in general, I just found it a very cumbersome way of doing it. But yeah, it's I don't know. I think as well, again, it's such a long-winded, kind of drawn-out way of doing it. I feel like, I don't know, it just feels like they should have just maybe had the 2 dates, maybe September 30th and March 3rd, and just kind of gone with that. But also just the way it reads with this whole thing of what was it? Basically, the app versions are gone. They will not work at all. They've just basically, there's no offline play. There's nothing for them. They are completely wiped out.
Yeah, that's true. And but I mean, in this case, it's only for Disney Infinity 2.0. Oh wait, no, I'm misreading that. The Steam version of 2.0, but 3.0 still works. It's just there's got to be technical reasons, but it doesn't make any sense from the press release. So, I mean, that's what it boils down to. Yeah.
I mean, sort of the Steam versions and stuff like that. I mean, I think the playsets and stuff will still work offline. This kind of, to me, also stems at this whole like bigger issue, really. And I think there's been a lot of this discussion going on recently. I've been hearing, this whole thing versus digital versus physical, and how when you do a digital purchase, you aren't buying something; you're basically just leasing it until they decide they want to pull the plug. We have people like, you have your Steam collection. I have loads of games on Xbox Marketplace and PlayStation Store that are digital purchases. Marvel Ultimate Alliance this week was 2 digital purchases, and so therefore they can pull the plug on them whenever they want to. It's not like a physical copy which you own, which is one of the biggest issues I think people have with digital content. And this is the problem. You could have brought every single character for Disney Infinity on your app and paid hundreds for them, all of them. Not necessarily, and then suddenly the game was just literally unplayable for you, which I thought was a real bad way of handling it.
Yeah, and this is coming from someone who actually loves digital purchases. I've got a massive digital movie library. Most of the video games I have these days are digital, but that idea that they're not permanent, that they can be taken away from you, just like we're going to lose all the digital Disney Infinity characters, is something that's always on my mind. And the main reason why, like, for digital movie purchases, for example, I only buy from like Amazon and Google Play because I have a certain amount of confidence they'll still be there. But if there's a third party uh, site that comes up and starts selling digital copies for their own site, like we used to have, or we still have, Ultraviolet, even though it was the
Yeah.
pioneer, I don't trust it. I don't expect it to exist, and I don't want to put money into it. And this is, I guess, that strange like dichotomy that you're talking about here.
Yeah, I must admit, I feel like with like if I buy a digital purchase, often it's just like, I'll play it. Once I've finished playing with it, it's pretty much gone to me. It's almost like a rental, and it's just in my collection. It's not like a physical disc because I'm gonna be honest, I tend to rarely ever go back. But this whole thing of like, at least with my Disney Infinity character, I can sell it if I wanted to. There's some value to it. But this brings up that whole thing of digital content. And like Marvel Ultimate Alliance this week, it's a digital purchase. Some comments were like, well, why I want the physical version, I don't want to go digital. And there is an argument to it, but I still feel at the minute, digital purchases, it's just one of those things. And I think this is when something like this is, I was just reading through many of the comments on some of the bigger sites, and a lot of the feedback to this online function stuff of Disney Infinity being closed down was a lot of people saying, maybe people that are anti-digital were very much like, this is why we don't like digital. This is why we don't want to buy the digital. This is what, in-game purchases and DLC, this is what goes wrong with it because if Disney can pull the plug, anyone can pull the plug.
Well, to go maybe on the flip side of that, talking about Marvel Ultimate Alliance here, just very briefly, is this is not a re-release we probably would have gotten if it was forced to be physical. I don't think there was enough demand for it as a mass market. Let's produce 100,000 copies or even 10,000 or 50,000 copies of this on disc form, because it costs them money to press the discs and ship them and put them in CDs, and then retailers have to put shelf space up. So something like Ultimate Alliance, where there's kind of a small section of people, and if they want the physical copy, they can still get the 360 or PS3 versions. You're not. It makes sense for them to do it digitally, but on the other hand, you have a major game like Disney Infinity. If you're selling both a physical and a digital copy, in most cases, it makes more sense to buy that physical copy, especially for figures.
Yeah, it definitely. And in terms of quite often with games, they are actually often cheaper. I mean, Lego Star Wars Force Awakens, I could go pick it up for £32 on a physical disc, or you could pay $49.99 on the PlayStation Store. It didn't make a lot of sense to buy the digital version. But no, I think this whole like timeline thing is just. It's a little bit like, we've officially been given kind of like notice of death. Basically, this is the end of the, this is the thing that your offline play, your play sets will continue to live on for generations. You're still going to be able to have access to them. Any updates like from Marvel Battlegrounds and Finding Dory are located on the Xbox and Nintendo servers while they're still up. There's this other side of things of, in 10 years time, 15 years time, the PlayStation server might not be a PlayStation. I mean, I tend to think that everything's moving into one big, like, long life, backwards compatible PC kind of territory. That's how it looks from the PC and Xbox kind of thing. So it might not be an issue in that kind because it's the way it all looks. But, it's definitely an odd situation.
Well, here's a question for you, kind of adjusting a little bit. If Infinity or Disney had come out with this timeline or something very similar to this timeline when they canceled the game, rather than saying, game's canceled, everyone go home, pack up your stuff, you're done. If they had released this timeline and said, okay, we knew this game wasn't going to last forever, and March 3rd is the date when it's going to end, do you think maybe reactions would have gone maybe not quite so negative? Like back in July?
I think if they'd said that originally, it probably would have. It wouldn't. Well, in all honesty, I think no matter what they would have said at that point, it would have been a big, massive
Oh,
blow at that point.
oh,
So,
absolutely.
but I think had they just announced the date there and then, but I don't think they planned that far ahead when they announced it. I think had they just came out and said, right, March 3rd, everything, all the online services closed down, it would have maybe looked like they were more in control than they were. Because I think, and I still feel it. I don't think Disney Infinity were in control at that point when that got pulled.
Oh no, there was no way. I mean, their Twitter was active up till a couple hours before the announcement. They were like, "Oh, we've got some announcements down the pipe," and then boom, we're done. So
Yeah. No, it's a real. It's just this kind of weird thing of. I'm gonna be honest. I think ever since I finished defining the replay set, I'm kind of recommending people go in there and download a load of toy boxes and go in there and play. And I just haven't had any desire to go into the game and play for it feels like a couple of months, really, since Finding Dory came out. I just have not. It's been a really weird one. And on one hand, I sort of sitting there, I was walking to work the other day, and thinking, I really should be going in the toy box and trying to that have been created because they're not going to be available much longer. And it's just like I'm 3 years of toy box playing out, burnt out. This is what it is. Odd.
I still haven't even played Finding Dory. I have it on my shelf, but it's still in its packaging. Nemo's still in his packaging. He's got the 2 little power discs with him. I just can't open it up. It's not even like this is the last thing. If I leave it unopened, then there's always something else. It's not anything stupid like that. It's literally like I have it, but I don't feel any particular need to play it.
I will say that I'm going to be honest. That Finding Dory playset is a lot of fun. It is a real fun. It's, in all honesty, it doesn't really feel very Disney Infinity-esque anyway, because once you're in the side-scrolling bit, you could just be playing a separate game. But yeah, it's. I know what you mean. I think there's, I know there's some people that are like, they're literally doing as much toy box building and trying to get the most out of this while it's still available, and trying to share toy boxes and trying to play down. And then there is a large chunk of the community that have literally just gone next.
Yep.
That's basically it.
My Infinity Twitter feed is stuck between people playing Pokemon Go and like rebuilding Disneyland in Disney Infinity, and so I've got half and half going on right now.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no, my Pokemon app got deleted earlier this week. Right? It's just like I've had enough Pokemon. Yeah, it's just, I think it's just an odd way for it all to go out. But definitely just feels like Disney Infinity is kind of, I think it's just going to start wrapping up more and more. I don't know if we're going to see much more leaks, much more content. It feels like, the Steam is officially, as that maybe in that comment says, is starting to wear out.
Well, I think even in terms of leaks, unless there is a huge, massive, unexpected leak, someone be like, man, they were going to bring like Bugs Bunny to Disney Infinity or something like that. Unless there's something like that, I don't think there's much interest in most people wanting to hear about these leaks anymore.
No, it does feel like the whole I thought last week's Avatar from the point of view of how it's going to work with licensing and stuff like that, and I even put up a story about Avatar movies last night, because even though they're not Disney now, with like Animal Kingdom and stuff, they're all kind of like interconnected with Disney, all these new movies. And I actually even picked up the Avatar PS3 game the other week because it was only like £2 in a game store. But it's literally, it's going to be interesting. It just feels like I think that the wind is going from underneath it, and I know I've just got a backlog of games that I've wanted to play the last couple of years, and I've got way too many to play at the minute. But I want to play some older games that I missed, like, because I was playing, I was building toy boxes and just some games that I missed. Like I still got Star Wars Force Unleashed 2 that I want to go play through. I think I got about an hour left of the first game. I want to try and Tron Evolution was out, and that's finally gone off of Xbox Go. I picked, I got that on Xbox Gold. and played about an hour of it. But then Ultimate Alliance came in this week and completely wiped away any game I was playing.
Oh man, yeah, I hear you. I've got so many games waiting for me to get through, and Infinity was eating so much of my time, and it was great time. I mean, don't get me wrong, I loved my time with Infinity, but there's other games now sitting there waiting to be played.
I think it definitely feels like, I think, a lot of people talk about like the drought of the summer and how, people are playing games and jumping back in. And it tends to feel like, all the big games are coming out like Christmas and stuff. So this is that time of the year when people go in and play, finish off games, jump in and play games they maybe missed and stuff like that. But obviously we're still getting content added to new bits and pieces. So I think we'll jump over now to the Marvel Ultimate Alliance, since that was kind of, to be honest, I think it was kind of one of the biggest. It was not only was it a big release for Marvel, it was kind of one of the big stories of the week all over the place for a couple of bad reasons, really.
Yeah.
So first off, it was released on Xbox One and PlayStation 4 first, and also on PC. Now, it was priced at £44. I think it was about $60 for the bundle, $40 each, £30 each, and it was pretty much like Comic-Con. Here it's coming out Tuesday. We knew it was coming, but I thought it was going to be a couple of months away. So I'd expected August to be Kingdom Hearts month for me. And so then it was, it came out. I'm going to be honest, I purchased both of them. And I have spent every evening this week playing Ultimate Alliance. I have to be honest, I've been focusing on number one because I've not played either of them. So therefore it made sense for me to go through one, then do two. Was just taking on the Mandarin last night in the first one, and so I have been really enjoying it. I'm going to put this straight out there. I've been enjoying playing it because I never played them the first time round. I put up a video up on the YouTube channel which blew up, I think, because it was I managed to download it just before I went to work and get it. And there's a lot of people talking about the negative side of it. The side of it, from my point of view at the minute, it's a lot of fun. I've not played it before. I'm gonna be honest, the graphics are not amazing. It doesn't look like it's been given this is no by near names really a remaster. Every time I mention the word remaster, people say it's a port. Well, they have tinkered with it a little bit, but it's it certainly isn't a major remaster version.
Right, like you can go up to 1920 by 1080p resolution. I gather the frame rate is a bit more stable than it was back on the 360 and the PS3. But from the screenshots from the video, I did watch the video that you posted. Yeah. It does not look like a huge technical leap forward from the 360 version, which we expected. They told us flat out at the beginning it was a port, not a remaster, or whatever technical term you want to use. The issue I have with it isn't necessarily the Xbox One and PS4 version. It sounds like those are okay, not necessarily great ports. You might have a different opinion on that. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was last night. It was a weird thing where I was facing the man, so the thing's face was on the back of his head, looking straight at me, and what the hell's that? That was the oddest, like, whoa. But I'm gonna be honest, I don't feel like I've had it. That was the only glitch I can think of. The controls work well. You know what I feel really stupid because I didn't realize there was this. I pressed the trigger button, and suddenly brought up all these extra menus for powers, and going. I've been playing through the last 3 nights, not realizing it. I thought I got the controls on the first day, and had never pressed the button since. I got all these extra powers. I didn't. It's no wonder they all felt so similar. I was only using punch.
You can skill them up and power them up and team up and all that stuff.
Well, I hate doing skill trees and all this kind of rubbish. It's just like give me the power, press a button, and that's it.
At least if I remember correctly, at least the Marvel Ultimate Alliance skill trees were very, very basic. Here are your 4 powers. Power up the one that you want, and so on. Something like that.
I played about an hour of Ultimate Alliance 2 because I didn't really want to get too much into it because, like I said, I wanted to play through the first one. However, the graphics on that are far superior, but then it's 3 years newer. It almost feels like that was that next gen kind of game. So therefore, the graphics look so much crisper. It does look like the DLC was included in the second one, but not in the first one. as far as I know from number 2, it was playing good. I just, like I said, I have primarily I must have spent 5-6 hours playing the first game this week. So I was more like I said, I was more focused on wanting to basically run through number 1 rather than trying to do the 2 simultaneously. And also the controls, I find if you're trying to play too many games at once, you get a bit confused with controls.
Oh yes, absolutely. Like I've been playing through Shadow of Mordor over on my PC, and then I loaded up I think it was Tomb Raider or Batman Arkham Asylum, and I'm hitting all the wrong buttons. But in this game, I push the trigger and it does this, and I'm in stealth and I'm about to take down the bad guy, and all of a sudden he like leaps out from behind cover and throws batarangs at everybody. Like, that wasn't what I meant to do.
No, it's funny because I mean it's just odd as those Marvel Alliance games really kind of. I picked up Lego Dimensions. I thought, right, August, Lego Dimensions and Kingdom Hearts. Those were my key things because I know Alliance determined basically here's 2 brand new games for you to play. It's like, okay, I want to play them now because I'm going to be honest, price wise, I still £45 for the 2 games. Or $60. On one hand, it's a lot of it feels a lot of money for the price of the game for what you're getting for it. I think it is overpriced for what it was. I think had it been $50 or £35 for the 2, it made it a little bit down. I think they shouldn't have been. The way I look at it, okay, I paid £22 for both for each, £22 each, or $30 each. For what it was without the DLC, it was a bit of it does feel very over expensive for what they are. They should be a lot less. However, I do also look at the fact that on the second-hand market, they are even on the 360 game discs or the PlayStation 3 disc. I was looking at £15 to £18 for the second-hand games, so there wasn't too much, and I could play it, on my PlayStation 4, and it's a lot more, better there. But that price was not right, which leads us on to the big problems for this game this week. So first off, like I said, price. A lot of people complaining. A lot of people putting off. I mean, I know you felt the same on that.
Oh yeah, and I think it's a little bit different for the 2 of us because you had never played the games before, so
yeah,
the value might be a little bit higher for you because it's a new experience. Whereas for myself, I played through both of these back in the day, so without significant improvements or upgrades or whatever, $60 is way too much. But it's the modern era. They're digital games. They're going to go on sale a lot. I'll pick them up when they go on sale, but $60. No.
Yeah, well, I must admit, I picked up Amazing Spider-Man 2 Gold Edition on the PlayStation Summer Sale. I think it was down to like $14.99. I was like, well, I haven't played it. I just downloaded it because the thing was I saw it online for the disc version for $11.99 a few weeks ago and ordered it, and it got cancelled because they didn't have enough stock. So I saw it it's like, I'm buying it. I've tried to buy this game 3 times. It's like, but yeah, so that's again, that is exactly what you're saying. That was a perfect example of a game that when it comes down to the right price, you flip the switch and you want to just enjoy it.
What's really funny about Ultimate Alliance 1 and 2 is actually they were both on sale on the 360 digital store, the original ones, not the remasters. Yeah. They were both on sale for $10 each, like maybe a month ago, and I almost bought them, and I don't remember why. I think maybe my credit card wasn't on the 360 or something like that, and I was like, and then immediately after we heard rumors about the remaster, I'm like, oh, okay, I'm glad I didn't get it. Now I'm kind of like, oh man, I wish I'd gotten them back then.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be honest. There's a whole thing with the backwards compatibility with the Xbox One. I'm standing in the store. I was walking by, saw Soul Calibur 2, or Soul Calibur 4 with Yoda on the front. On the Xbox, it was like £4. I'm like, I totally forgot that had happened. I was like, was in the store and I went online, backwards compatibility, Xbox One, Soul Calibur, and it come up list, and so I brought it, got home, put it in the disc, didn't work, and then I looked online. Oh, Soul Calibur 1 and 2 are before, and it's like, this backwards compatibility rubbish because I just made a purchase that didn't exist. It's like so that's. But they're definitely going to bring those discs backwards compatible with the Xbox One now.
I mean, they kind of have to. I really hope that eventually they get if not all of the 360 library, then at least most of it. Because one of the big selling points, one of the reasons I didn't get either an Xbox One or PS4 at launch was I had an Xbox 360 and I wanted those games to continue being playable. And I wanted to get rid of my 360 and replace it with a One or a PS4. Obviously, the PS4 wouldn't be backwards compatible with the 360, but that's not the point. But that was like one of the big advantages the Wii U had, was that it played Wii games. And did it play GameCube games? I don't even remember.
Yeah, the Wii. No, I don't know if it did. I don't know.
I know the Wii played GameCube games, but I don't know if they kept that functionality going forward. Either way.
No, but yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, because I was reading an article yesterday, I think because like I was mentioning there, like Windows and PlayStation 4 seem to be moving into this like PC zone of like one system, long term, backwards compatible being a major function of this, because everyone's going onto one infrastructure for the long haul, because they're just going to be doing multiple. I still think that the PlayStation, we're just going to start seeing like 2-3 year consoles year on year, and they're just going to keep building on the one network. You have a PlayStation and they will have different versions. On a side note, that's where it looks, this upgrade, and have one platform and just keep adding more and more, rather than kind of jumping from different systems like they did with PS3. So, in 15-20 years time, your PlayStation 4 game will still work, because essentially we're still on a PlayStation, because it's just a PC now, just
really
getting off. Which kind of leads on to this PC issue with Marvel Ultimate Alliance, because that was one big cluster. That was a mess. I didn't. Yeah, I mean, you're a PC player. You can explain on that one.
So I woke up early on Tuesday to see what the reviews looked like on Steam, which is the PC platform they use for distribution, and I'm going through the forums and I'm going through the reviews, and it's just people trashing it left, right, and center. The port is terrible. The controls are terrible. Like, you can't remap the controls. That even if you're using a 360 or Xbox One controller, they're not mapped properly. You can't change them. Their voices are missing from characters. It's all sorts of stuff, and it's just like, wow, this is a 10-year-old game, and you guys can't port it to a modern PC without these major problems. It boggles the mind that kind of thing would get past QA from a major company like Activision.
Well, people were like saying they couldn't even get past the opening menu.
Right. Yeah.
And this is like everyone has just been going on about this thing about testing. They must have done either testing was done. They turned it on with the controller plugged it, it worked, and then they moved on. And like they're saying, it's like the laziest port they've ever done, and this whole thing is just completely backlashed. I mean, there was a backlash against the price, but then this Steam issue has completely smashed this game, this report and remaster, out the door before it even started. And I'm gonna be this is where the same thing. I've been playing on the PlayStation 4, and it's been enjoyable. So that's what the word should have been getting out this week.
And that's the thing. I remember really enjoying these games, and I know that I will enjoy them again. There's no reason that I shouldn't be here today saying these games are awesome. If you want a great nostalgia trip to the 360 days, get these games. But they bungled this port up so bad, just so bad. And I was worried. I remember, I think I tweeted at you a couple days before the launch. I'm like, we haven't seen screenshots. We haven't seen videos. We have no information about this. I'm getting a little worried, and it looks like we were right. So,
yeah. I mean, it was this kind of thing. I mean, like I said, day one purchase for me for the Tuesday when it came out was great. I mean, a lot of people saying, "Well, how do you get it?" It's like, well, just a PlayStation Store upgraded, and then that's the one good thing for me for digital purchases, because when they go online on Tuesdays, I don't have to wait till Friday to get them in the store. So that's a good side. But yeah, I think Bill has put out for Marvel Games. He's put out a tweet saying, they are expecting an announcement soon on the DLC for MA1 and also PC fixes. I think, and he basically the word is, we are listening to you. I mean, I saw this great meme of just like this finger going, there's like Kingpin just pounding on someone, and so this kind of thing of Kingpin is Marvel just beating up Activision, going, do it right. because I just feel like Marvel, they're trying to redo the whole games division. This was not the start they needed, and especially if they're going to be doing more of this, it's this whole thing of like, bring the DLC. The DLC should have been included from day one. That price, it should have been in there. And if you weren't going to do it, it should have been a $15-$20 purchase without it. If you're going to not include the DLC at that price, it was wrong, and they are going to fix it. It does look like the DLC in 2 is in there, but that seems that, the PC fixes. This is like Batman Arkham all over again.
Oh, it absolutely is, and I had some flashbacks to that. Obviously, this is a little bit different. This isn't a AAA release, at least now. It was back in the day, but it's not now. And so it's not going to get quite as much backlash as Batman did. But you know what? Steam has a refund system now. Steam reviews are fairly well regarded in the community, and people base a lot of purchasing decisions on these. Companies can't get away with this anymore. Not to the degree they could in the past anymore. We're not going to see Assassin's Creed Unity again with the missing heads and stuff that was going on. So
but again, it's just one reason of why I am not a very good PC player, because I don't like this kind of, messy kind of thing, because it's just, I prefer consoles for that reason. I tried playing Castle of Illusion on my PC. It just feels weird. But yeah, we should be expecting some information on these fixes. I'm suspecting pretty quickly they'll want to get this flushed out the way quick.
Oh yeah, they need some positive press here, because they don't have games coming out. This is like their game until Spider-Man? There might be some other re-releases down the road, but this is the game that they're front and center.
Yeah, we got the pinball coming to the consoles later this year, Power. But I do wonder if we're going to see a lot more of this stuff coming up. And I also feel that one of the reasons a lot of this stuff is coming up again was because of what I was saying about this long-term plan, I think, from PlayStation and Xbox having one PC network with consoles being upgraded. I think, this whole thing about putting the PlayStation 2 games and the 1s and the 3s, I think this is all part of trying to bring their huge back catalog onto the one network to keep, and they want to spread them out a little bit, but I think this is all part of the bigger plan to kind of move content all onto one network for the long term.
I agree with that, and I think they're also doing this because they want to get ahead of the PS4 and the Xbox One having native compatibility for 360, because if these two games are backwards compatible, if you can go in and get the 360 versions, they're not making money off those, because those are used sales. They're not going to get anything unless you buy it digitally. Go ahead.
I was going to say that I think what happened with Red Dead Redemption the other week was that this literally so many people brought the Xbox the online version because it was such a good game. Literally sales do actually boost up. I know there's been a few DuckTales, perfect example. I just brought the digital version when a game on backwards compatible. There has been quite a few times when it does actually sometimes stimulate an old game.
Right, but does it stimulate it to the point where if we do a full re-release, whether or not we upgrade it, are we going to get more money doing that, or are we going to get more money from the boost of the backwards compatibility? And I think Activision's kind of testing that water right now, because remember, these are also the guys who are relaunching, Call of Duty Modern Warfare #1 as an upgraded remaster is one of the special packages for their next game. I don't know, I stopped paying attention a while ago. But I think not just in the Marvel sphere, we're going to see a lot of, in particular, Activision games. And I really hope that this is not an indication of what we're going to see in terms of port quality. No. But hopefully they're listening.
It definitely, like I said, I feel like the games are going in a slightly different direction with the consoles. We're not going to get console generations the way we've had in the past, and there's going to be one system. And I just think we are going to see a lot more remastered, lots more. It's like all the stuff with the PS2 games coming to the PlayStation. I think Xbox have had the better way of doing it with the backwards compatibility, but even that's a bit of a mess. Which was my perfect example this week of what can go wrong. It was exactly what I did. It's an exact example of buying a game secondhand that wasn't backwards compatible because the list, was not really. It was okay. I misread it, but it was still there. Had I put in a name that wasn't the right one, it wouldn't have come up. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's been but on one hand, and this is the same thing. Going back to Marvel, I've enjoyed playing it this week. I've enjoyed playing the first one. I'm going to be finishing off one this week coming up, and I'll be going into number 2 August. That is me set. That's me set for, and it feels like a brand new Marvel game for me. And that is, but then I can't help but feel this is about getting people down for maybe a new game, a new version. Though you kind of, it's like, maybe the Alliance branding kind of got mixed up with all the Avengers Alliance stuff that they brought in as well.
Well, yeah, there's that, because you could talk about, say, Marvel Avengers Alliance 2 or 1, the Facebook games or the mobile games, and it's like, well, okay, Marvel Ultimate Alliance, what's the difference? And then you have all that confusion. So.
No, it's definitely a fun one. So let's move now over to some of the other bits and pieces this week. Cinderella has now come to Disney Magic Kingdoms, and there's been a whole host of new stuff. Kind of, you've got Prince Charming and you've got Cinderella as playable characters, kind of characters that can be brought in. They've also brought in a couple of patches, because this is the 3rd upgrade. New decorations. You've also got things like chests that are kind of a really bad thing. There's also a splash mountain and they fixed a few of the tweaks and stuff. I'll be honest, Cinderella doesn't really doesn't really interest me in the slightest. These characters, they could have, Incredibles, like, yeah. Cinderella, no. But then it's a different audience, and I think they do need to flick between, different characters and stuff. But yeah, I'm not. This is not really good. If I never get Cinderella, I am not really that bothered.
Well, I mean, Cinderella is one of the story characters, as near as I can tell, so we'll get her eventually just by playing the game. The bigger question, which you'd already alluded to, was Prince Charming. And he, correct me if I'm wrong about this, but the item that you need to recruit him is his gloves.
Yeah.
And the only way to get the gloves are out of these chests that you mentioned, specifically the rare chest, which anybody can get, which is free to play, or the premium chest, which you pay for. The problem being the rare chests are, as the name suggests, rare. I've only seen one of them in my playing time so far. And they take 12 hours to open.
Yeah.
And the one that I opened gave me a decoration of Incredible bench that we had from the dang thing. I'm like, woohoo! You could have at least given me something I don't already have.
Yeah, I mean, I quickly filled up my free chests, and I did it in like 3 hours. Okay, like, oh, I've got something. It's like I got some magic or something. I'm like, okay, so it didn't kind of instantly click with me of like, what was it? Was like, well, what is this? I don't quite get it. I know they've introduced brooms that are kind of like the Omnibots now, that you kind of hit and you get a free go. Luckily, they're not tied into find 150 of these things that are all timed. They're just I don't mind. I don't mind that addition. There's a swing and you get a little magic for it.
Yeah, the brooms are fine. This is a temporary thing. I guess it's only 4 days left, give or take. And if you get a certain number of them, then you get some prizes based on it. Like, I think if you tap on 50 of them, you'll get 1,000 magic. 150, you get some more, plus some happiness. I think if you get like, I don't know, 500 I'm making up numbers. I don't know what the actual number is. The top prize anyway is you get some gems. I think maybe 5, just for tapping on these broom guys, which is kind of cool.
See, again, I think for me it's this kind of thing of like, in the morning I flip it up. I do set it for a 6-8 hour mission. I then jump in when I get home from work, do maybe the hour missions. And then when I go to bed, I'll then lock on and then do the longer bit. And that's basically how I play. I don't, I'm not jumping in every hour and doing all the bit. I jump in 2-3 times a day and just set them up. If I know I'm like, say it's like 6 o'clock in the evening, I'll set it for an hour or 2 because I know I'll then jump in before I go to bed, kind of thing. But it's very much kind of pick it up, play it for 2-3 minutes, and then put it back down again.
Yeah, absolutely. That's kind of the same way I play. The only exception was during the Incredibles event, because I joined with only like 5 days left in the month-long event, and I was trying to get as much done as I could in 5 days. I got through Violet, so that was good at least. But other than that, yeah, it's wake up, make some, pick up the items I got overnight, send them out on missions throughout the entire day. Before I go to sleep or whatever, I'll send them out on missions again, and it's good to go.
Yeah, it definitely is. I feel like I think this game is just going to be new character every month, every couple of new characters a month. You know, these little events, and I don't have a problem with that. I think that's a good way of. That's the mobile way of doing it. It's what they do with the Marvel games of just like. And Disney got enough characters. The Star Wars ones have always been a little bit more harder to do, but no, I think it's pretty cool. Oh yeah, carry on.
I was going to say the only thing I'm worried about if they're going to continue characters is if they're going to continue to make characters like Prince Charming who are only possible through these chests, which are basically, you know, give us money chests, but we're not going to tell you how much money because we don't want to tell you because it's going to be rare and maybe you'd be willing to spend $4 on them or whatever, but we're going to make you buy $10 worth of gems to do it, and maybe you won't even get them then.
No, I mean I've only made one purchase within the game, and that was Frozone. But then, you know, that was that kind of weird thing of like, you know, it's like one price up. You know, it told you right on the banner how much it was, how much you were going to get, and you got the building and all the rest of it. Well, all right, I've been playing this for a while. I should maybe tip in a little bit of money on it. But yeah, you know, that's the kind of way it should. You know, but it's like you say, they're trying to hide behind this kind of. And it's that thing I hate about Marvel Contest of Champions of these random boxes. I will not buy random boxes because that's not. If I'm paying money, I want to get the product I want, not a mystery bag.
No, that I'm 100% the same way. I want to know what I'm buying, especially in a digital game like this. It's like, give me Prince Charming, tell me what the price is, and I'll decide whether or not I want to play it. Let's not play this game where the price might be. I might get lucky on the first try and get him for $1 or whatever the gem price comes out to be. Or I've got to sit here and spend $10, $15, $20 and maybe even not get them.
Yeah, no, it's not like that. But there, so that's going to flick over now to the next upgrade, which was the Disney Crossy Roads. They added Pirates of the Caribbean just randomly. I thought that might have been another year when the movie came out. They might have held on to that one. New level, more stuff, lots more characters. They introduced a whole host of different ones. You've got what have you got? Jack Sparrow. You got Will Turner, Barbossa, Elizabeth Swan. There was also some hidden characters added there. You could get a bundle which kind of was priced way high. It was about seven. It was supposed to be £17.66, but it was on sale for 12. I think I can't remember what it was in dollars. Again, you know, good level, fine. I purchased Will Turner for 79p or 99 cents because I just wanted to play the level. And there's this. I sat there and went, why you Jack Sparrow up? You put him as a pick at like £3 or £2, £3. Like no, I ain't doing that. That's like no chance.
Yeah, I mean, Crossy Roads for me is one of those games I'll play it every once in a while, but it's I never got into it the way a lot of people did. For me, it's just Frogger with a Disney skin, which is fine. You know, I mean, they hit the reward to gain ratio pretty well, though. You know, every 6 hours you get the coins, and I almost always get enough coins to get a new gotcha ball or whatever.
Yeah.
And I actually got 2 of the Pirates characters over the course of like 4 days through that. And yeah, but all the levels, I know they all have different skins, like the Pirates level, obviously, like the pirate ship in there and whatnot, but they all are functionally the same. So for me, it's like I'll wake up in the morning, I'll get the freebie coins, probably buy a gotcha ball with it, and then I'll like play whatever character I got, and then I'm done for the day. So
yeah. I think this kind of thing ties into that whole thing of like a lot of people, either you're a collector which has to have every single character and you want to unlock everything, or you like me and just want to do the experience. I'm not one of those characters. I just don't, it doesn't appeal to me to do. I don't see the point. I only needed one character, that was it. Now I'm going to be honest, had it not been for me doing you know, essentially content for the website and kind of needing to kind of essentially do it for all of this, I wouldn't have purchased it. And I'm going to be totally, but I do look at it and go, well, it's 79p, it's £1, it's a cheap purchase, and that might be it this year, you know. And I enjoy playing it, but that is the kind of thing of. But I liked that with the Finding Dory update that you were able to buy both characters for like a set bundle price, and you got Nemo and Dory, and I was like, I like that. I thought that was a good. The first 2 days, put out a prize, give you the best character. Then Pirates go and they do the exact opposite. It's like, whoa, and all right, where's Jack? Okay, where's Jack? I want to buy Jack. Where's? And nope, not paying that for it.
Yeah.
That was it.
I feel like between the Crossy Roads update with Jack, the update to Disney Magic Kingdoms with this new style of getting Prince Charming, and then some of the other games you were talking about, Contest of Champions. The one for me I've mentioned a couple times is Marvel Avengers Academy, which is predatory beyond belief at this point. I feel like Marvel is taking this approach where, or not Marvel, sorry, Disney is taking this approach where they're kind of going, all right, let's step it up just a little bit. Yeah. Will they accept that? Let's step it up a little bit more. Will they start accepting that? Stepped it up a little. Oh, no. That's where they draw the line. Okay, let's back up a little bit, and that's where we're going to be at. So.
Yeah, no, it's like, you can buy that bundle. It's like, I don't need the bundle. I don't need it. I'm not spending that much money. It's like, this game is not worth 17 or 13, 14 pound to me for this month. That's like, sorry, it's just not worth that for a mobile game. And I can see how people can spend a lot doing, I've slightly changed my opinion on digital purchases over the last year because more and more games are going into it. And the way that the game companies are moving into it, I look at, like, Just Keep Swimming as a to be honest, as a $4 purchase, that was actually a really good value for because you got like basically a game. You got 14 levels and you played for the game and you got to the end of it and you completed it. That was the end of it. And I do think that that's not this whole free to play model. They might be making more money, but I think they still need to work on how they're doing it. And Disney Crossy Roads, I don't mind the system that they have with that one. It seems to work all right. I think it's a lot better than Magic Kingdoms.
Yeah, with the exception of Pirates, where they obviously price gated Jack off there. Didn't mean to put it that way. Jack Sparrow, where they price gated him that way. And I'm perfectly fine with paying a flat rate for characters that I know I'm going to get time with. Maybe not in Crossy Roads because it's not really my game, but like I was seriously tempted. I got Frozone for Magic Kingdoms like you did, and I was seriously tempted with Wally. When I got to that portion, they offered a pack for that. Buy Wally, get some gems and so forth like that. Because Wally is my favorite of the Pixar movies. And I was like, you know what? I would probably get my value usage out of Wally. But in the end, I didn't because it's just like, they already got my money for Frozone.
But I think that it kind of ties into this whole thing of DLC now because this whole thing of adding extra content in, even it does come to consoles because Lego Star Wars Force Awakens released their 2 character packs this week. They brought them into the game. I'll just bring up. You had the prequel pack, which was you had like Jango Fett, you had Padme, you had Anakin Skywalker, you had Darth Maul, and a few other characters. You also had the Freemaker adventures with a whole host of stuff. Now, see that again was I think they were priced at £1.69 a pack, or $3 for the pack, or they were included in the season pass. Now, for those characters, I'm gonna be honest, they didn't really do a lot in the game. There's nothing unique there. Darth Maul is awesome. I love playing as him. The Freemaker ones, I don't know what's to show. I don't really have any connection to these characters. They are generic, just random characters for me. So the Freemaker character really wasn't of much interest to me. But I like the prequel one. But I do think that their price structure was a lot better because £8-10 for the season pass, you get the whole thing, and these packs, the Lego ones seem to be very, 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 very good. I don't know if you had a chance to play these.
I have not had a chance to play these yet. I do have them because I got the season pass, but I haven't had a chance. But I have with, like, say, the Avengers one recently, and Batman Beyond Gotham and so on. And for me, the characters aren't really the draw. It's kind of cool to see them, to get the classic characters, Darth Maul, Jango Fett, etc. But I like that you also get a little short level along with them.
Yeah.
And emphasis on short, but for the money that you're paying for it, you know what? A 15 to 30-minute level for a couple bucks really isn't that bad. Not when we're talking about Lego.
I think Lego Force Awakens, we got 3 levels coming from the season pass. I'm gonna be honest, that was a big thing that I love with the Avengers. They did that season. I thought that was because I recently just picked up this. I haven't actually got around to playing it yet. So this is a rather bashful because it came through the post. So this is the kind of thing of this is the first time I've brought an extra pad on for Dimensions. So I've heard. I mean, this one I think is slightly different because it's the event, lots of classic games, but this is where I worry with the price of DLC with stuff because you're like I said, the Star Wars Force Awakens and the Lego Marvel Avengers are really, really cheap, and they are seriously cheap DLC. Those level packs have a level, and the characters are ridiculously priced compared to those things, and that's where I do slightly worry when Dimensions comes in of price points for this DLC. But that price, like we've said before, it's so cheap, that season pass. It's almost, you feel like, well, of course I'm going to buy it. It's cheap. It's easy. It's well worth the value. And that, compare that to the, like you said, these microtransactions or the Battlefront season pass. There's so much different variations, and you can see all the companies all trying different things.
That's kind of an interesting point, because I think what we're going to see, at least on maybe the consumer side, as we start to wise up to this a bit, is rather than looking at DLC or, if you want to buy Prince Charming or Frozone or Wally or whatever, we're not going to see it as, I'm buying this character, but how much time value am I going to get out of these characters? Am I going to use Anakin? Am I going to use Darth Maul? And if the answer is no, then you're going to not buy it, as opposed to, I've got to collect them all or whatever. So we'll see. But
yeah,
I'm looking forward to playing them.
Yeah, it's definitely I must admit, playing through as Darth Maul was a lot of fun. It's this kind of thing. I think it'll be interesting when these packs come out a little bit later on. I know with Marvel Avengers they waited a few months and then they started releasing like a pack and pack week on week. So I don't know if it's going to be like one of those things of week on week we get like Lego Star Wars Force Awakens content, maybe over the summer before Lego Dimensions kicks in. Maybe that'll be the system they will use. But yeah, it's going to be cool. I'm looking forward to them coming in, and I'm at that point where I look at that season pass for Lego Force Awakens and like my other Avengers, and I just view, to be honest, the price you're paying for the game, half the time it's discounted. That would have been, that's the full price of the game. People could argue that maybe the price should just go up, but people want the game as cheap as possible, but they also want all the content as cheap as possible. And it's like they've got to do one. You've got to go one or two ways. You either have one set price or you upgrade. I mean, I say it at work. I over the last couple of years I've been introducing this thing. The days of you buy an ice cream or you buy something and you get the full product for one price. Great. No, it's not. Now it's like, do you want a flake? Do you want an extra cone? Do you want the bigger size? You up. I call it like the EasyJet, the flight system where you want to check in? Yeah, that's a little bit more. Do you want your bags? Yeah. Do you want insurance? Yeah. Do you want a seatbelt? Yes. And that's how video games have gone. It's everyone's looking at the lowest price. Well, that's never the true price.
Oh yeah, and just for American audience, the EasyJet comparison would be Spirit over here. They're the guys you pay $20 for a ticket. But oh yeah, you want to bring your backpack on? That's another $20. You want to bring on a water? That's another $20. So yeah, EasyJet, Spirit. That's it, and that's definitely how it's going.
The thing is, everyone's looking at that bottom price to bring you in, and it's that thing of they could have done Lego Force Awakens as a $50 or £50 game, and included the season pass, and then everyone would have been too expensive. I'm not paying that as a Lego game. They've done it this way around, it's cheap. But then again with these, if they turn around to Disney Magic Kingdom and says, right, it's $17.99 and you get the full game. No more, we'll do events, there's no purchases, there's nothing. You might turn around, that's a lot of money. Or you might turn around and go, that would have been that could have been I just feel, this free-to-play system, it has its advantages, but it's also blurs that line between, gaming at the minute. And it's just a really odd situation, I think, for games.
And it's that, and what's interesting about free to play is that to a certain degree, it kind of pits the developers against the players, where the players are going, I want to spend as little money as possible, preferably nothing, on this game, and the developers have to then fight back and go, well, we need food, so wouldn't you like to spend money on Prince Charming? No, you don't want to be. Oh, you'll buy Prince Charming, but would you buy these chests that might have Prince Charming? And it's kind of this give and take, and some companies are worse than others. So
I also feel it's like this big difference. Maybe again for us, we are video game players. We've been playing video games since we were kids. I was used to spending my pocket money renting games, buying games at Christmas and my birthdays, buying games when I was a student. All my money went on videos and get video games. That was what I spent money on. And when I at Christmas, and my wife would say, "What do you want for Christmas?" and I will go, "I want Uncharted 4 or whatever it is." To me, that's about I get that for a Christmas present. I know that is value. I know that's a good. My wife, on the other hand, goes. She's when she was like, why am I spending this much money on a disc? Didn't see the value in it, because she's a free-to-play player. She plays Candy Crush, and the minute it says buy something, it's like next. They don't, and there's this whole thing of mobile games have created this audience that is the mainstream. There's the casual player that does not see value in video games in that same way. And this is where I think this is a massive cross between basically console and PC players and mobile games. There's such a vast difference between the two of like you say, we will pay 20, 30 pound for a digital game like that tomorrow if we think it's worth it. Whereas a free-to-play game, if they offered an unlocked Candy Crush, they would never touch it for £2.
No. Well, and here's what really gets me though is, they'll have the free-to-play game, and they'll be like, okay, if you want to unlock XYZ content, that'll be $60. And I'm like, but for $60, I could get an entire game up front, 100% completed. Because I know you asked me for $60 now, you're going to ask me for $80 tomorrow.
Yeah.
And why would people do it?
It does seem odd. Like I know you flick up and you go, you've got all these different gems you can buy. Imagine like £3, £5, £8, £12, £79 for a pack for a mobile game. I'm like, whoa. That makes like Disney Infinity look like a bargain.
I know. Yeah, you remember when Infinity first came out on Steam and people were like, you want how much for all the characters? You're like, dude, have you even looked at some of the competition? What was it? A game that we've talked about previously, Marvel Heroes, the free-to-play game. I remember when that first came out, I saw it at PAX East, and they're going, oh yeah, for $200 you can have every character. I'm like, are you kidding me? You want me to pay the price of 3 1/4 games for your heroes? It's like, no.
Yeah. I must admit, I do think like when they announce a new character, there is that thing of like an $18 price tag. I'm gonna be honest, it does feel like very high. Obviously, that's why when I did that free heroes contest this weekend, I got in. I'm like, okay, I've got some codes to give away. I've got lots of codes to give away. It's like, okay, this is gonna be a good weekend. So I put up the website. Like, I'll just comment and I'll email you the code. I'm thinking, probably going to get, a few hundred people might want codes or something. I woke up the following morning and had like 800 requests for codes. I'm like, okay, that's fine. And I literally spent 2 nights running just emails I think I spent like 4 or 5 hours a night just emailing. Like my fingers were hurting from copying and pasting so much. And and then like they were going up on GameSpot, they were going up on like loads of different sites were giving away these codes. Because what no one had realized was, and even I didn't realize, was this thing of the codes were the same like promotion for everyone. So if you got one from GameSpot, ours wouldn't work. Or if you used mine, it wouldn't work. And of course, everyone was going for everybody's codes. And of course, they were giving away thousands of them. I was like, I went onto one as like an automatic, like I go, oh, I wish I had that. I wish I had an automatic one. I've spent hours to emailing. It's like you guys have fun, you know, like get a good hero. Really hope you enjoy it, and you know, it was great giving away all those codes, and you know, I've had lots of emails coming back with people what they've been unlocking, and you know, that's what made it worth it for me. I'm gonna be honest. When I get that email back saying, I managed to unlock this one, thank you very much. That was what made it all worth it, and I'm really glad that so many people got to enjoy a new character in the game. And I love doing the giveaway. It was great. I have never seen a response to a giveaway we've ever done like that. It was crazy, but do you know what? It was really cool as well as the fact of it was almost like that thing of a free hero was just literally like moths to a light. It just everyone just seemed to just jump on. If you play the game, you wanted the free character, and maybe if you've been thinking about playing it, that was a good enough look. It definitely got the attention on the game, which it rightfully deserves. You know, there's been a lot of talk about how like almost Marvel Heroes is almost like the Ultimate Alliance like sequel. It's like that, and it's like I'm going to be honest. I think that promotion worked fantastically well for the company. I think they brought a lot of attention on it. I mean, yeah, a lot of people would like getting the trade stuff, but I'm going to be honest. I think it was a great promotion. And I think it definitely, like I said, I've never seen a response to a competition that I've ever run to have that. You know, I mean, yeah, we've had, you know, entries on like different systems, but it was just an amazing thing. And I did have to close it because I'm like, if I need to stop it so I can actually, you know, I'd be replying to somebody and the number would have gone up 20, 30 people at the time I'd done the email. And it's like, I'm not going to get these out in time. By the end of the weekend, it was just like, oh my god, this is insane. I've never seen a response to it, and I would just, you know, thank you to everyone that did it. And I really, you know, like I said, I just hope Google don't close down my account for spam.
I don't think they will, but you never know. The only contest that we've ever run over on iHeart Infinity when I was helping with that site that sounds like it even came close to that was when we had a King Mickey Power Disc. That's the only thing that's come close, and I think what you're saying, those numbers eclipsed that one by quite a bit.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, when we had those discs as well, you know, I know we had a massive response to that there, but luckily we were able to use like a raffle copter on that one, which was a lot easier to organize. But yeah, the response to these kind of giveaways and stuff, you know, everyone wants freebies, everyone loves them. It's just that thing of, you know, it's always good to see, you know, a reaction of what people want. And you know, that reaction showed me that, you know, there is a lot of love for that game, and I'm really glad because I really feel like it deserves it. Because it's just a fun game. I just wish I had more time down work and sleep.
But just to be sure, you kept one code for yourself, right?
Oh yeah, well I had to test to make sure it worked the first time.
Of course,
because it was a bit like, I mean, I had like 1,000 to give away kind of thing. So it was like, well, it's like, well, if I'm telling people how to do it, I would like to know, like, because obviously I was expecting someone, if they're going to then ask me, well, what do I do and how does it work? I thought, well, I do need to at least test. So I got Kitty Pride. But I did think, well, I need to just at least make sure that if someone comes back with me a question, I can kind of go, what, you do this, do that, do this. And I did actually go, well, no, I do. Well, I've got enough to give away, but I thought, well, I just would like to at least someone tells me how to do it. I can at least respond and go, like, this is how you do it properly. But yeah, no, it was definitely good. Yeah, I got Kitty Pride. I hadn't got around to playing it yet, but I'm glad there's a lot of people who've got new heroes and stuff to play, new characters, because there's so many characters in there, and I can just see them adding more and more and more to the game.
Well, we already know several of the new characters that they're planning on adding, so
yeah, that should be good. I know, because I don't think they ran an event this week, because I knew they were like, I think they were having a big like push for the game, which makes sense. It's that time of year. And last bit of the news this week, it was kind of a bit of a bad news thing, was the Playdom forum, which does like Marvel Ultimate Alliance or Marvel Avengers Alliance. I don't want to get them in any more problem. And also Star Wars Commander got hacked. So if you are on there, just go back onto the website. It basically just says if you use that password or anything else, go change it. It was only really passwords that were hacked. No credit card information. Though it's just such it's kind of one of those odd little things that sometimes happens.
And just to make sure people are aware, they're talking specifically about the forums being hacked there. If you have Avengers Alliance 2 on your phone, that was not hacked. It was, if you're on the Playdom forums, you know, you're part of the community, or you had a question once, that's what you have to look at. So
I think I was on there a while ago, but I don't really remember too much about it. I didn't really like Avengers Alliance and Star Wars Commander. I got bored of that after about 2-3 months. I kind of got
Star Wars Commander. That's the PvP one, right? Where you build up a base and people attack your base and you attack other people's bases. Yeah. That's not my game style, so I never really played that one.
I enjoyed playing it, but I logged in after like 3 months and realized my entire base had been destroyed and I had no coins and I'd been kicked out of the group, and I was like, yeah, it's this kind of thing as well. I think sometimes like there's so many games out there at the minute, and I feel like I'm like at the ice cream store where there's 9 flavors and rather than just one person going, I have vanilla please, and that's all I have for the rest of the day. It's like, you know, there's so much out there. I want to experience a lot of it, and you know, there's so many other games like that are out. I mean, you know, and I feel like there is this thing with just some video games at the minute where it's like you jump onto one thing, you jump onto the next, you jump onto this week's release, and that's kind of become quite normal. And for me now, especially with all these games and like doing the coverage for the sites, I definitely feel like it's like every Tuesday, it's like, right, what have I got this week?
Yeah. I actually deleted a number of games off of my phone this week, where I was just like, you know what, the only reason I have this on my phone is to log into the daily thing, like maybe send out some items to friends or whatever, and this is, why am I wasting my time doing this? Delete.
Yeah, I think the daily challenge is something we'll have to discuss at a later date, because they're a pain in the bum. But I think that's anything else. I think that's all of the news this week. We don't know of anything that's coming out. There's no announcements for anything. It's always weird. Every week, you just never know what's going to be coming. We didn't really know too much about the Cinderella event. We didn't know about Crossy Roads. But yeah, I'm just looking forward to spending some more time playing Marvel Ultimate Alliance. Ideally, I want to complete the main story of that before I move on. There is some online play, but I haven't really gone anywhere near that.
The online play is, if I remember correctly, just playing the single player through with co-op, which is actually a lot of fun. You know, with having 2 people controlling characters instead of just one, it is a lot of fun. I have no idea if it works with all the problems they've had with the port, so I don't know.
The other problem as well is how many people are playing it. That's the other issue. But to me, I love single player experiences. That's what I go online to do. Especially some nights this week, I've literally just turn it on, put on a couple of podcasts, and just spend 2-3 hours. I think it's been like 3 hours last night, just going through the game, listening to some podcasts, and just relaxing. And that was what it was quite nice just to be. It was like, I'm just going to sit back and just play and just relax and have, and that was what I enjoyed doing. And that's what happens when you get a console game that you just want to sit down and play.
Oh, yeah. It's a great game. I don't want to take away from either Marvel Ultimate Alliance 1 or 2. It's just the port that I have issues with, and what most people seem to have issues with. But I am very glad that you're getting to enjoy it and experience it for the first time, and that it's working mostly well on the PS4. And I hope they get the DLC fixed out so you can use Cyclops, because Cyclops in the first Marvel Ultimate Alliance is amazing.
I think now, like you said, it's just this thing with remasters and things. It goes one of 2 ways. It either brings new people in, which is what they want, or it allows other people to join in the game. And I think we're going to see a lot more of this. There's lots of great games that maybe got overlooked. And I think we're going to see a lot more ports from older games coming up over the next couple of years. I think we're going to, the Star Wars and the Marvel. I don't know about Disney. I don't know if Disney I don't know what Disney Interactive are going to do with this stuff. They don't seem to be jumping into it the same way at the minute. But maybe, if they start seeing Star Wars and Marvel stuff making money, because you look at like last year's, they did those 4 classic Star Wars game releases, and if they start thinking there's money to be made, maybe they'll start porting stuff over as well. Hey,
Marvel, Disney, remake the X-Wing games properly, not just remasters on good old games, but give us a modern X-Wing game, I will throw money at you. Just all over the place. X-Wing I grew up with X-Wing. That was my game as a kid. Oh man. But anyway.
Yes. Well, on that note, I just want to say a big thank you to Ethan over at swordapps.com and Magic Band Collector for being a Patreon as well. And big thank you to everyone that's Patreon over there as well. Really helps support the site and kind of doing bits and pieces and stuff and upgrading content and just kind of, it does really help. As per usual, check out our Infinity and Beyond Facebook group where we're discussing all of the week's video game stuff over there. You can check us out on Twitter and Facebook as well and keep up with all the latest news from DisKingdom. And as per usual, you can subscribe on the audio versions and you can subscribe as well by hitting that button on YouTube as well. And let me know in the comments below what you guys think of this week's news. Always like to know. And a big thank you once again to James for joining me in sleepy Washington, D.C.
Absolutely. I'm going to sleep here in just a second.
Well, anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching and we shall see you guys soon. Laters. To infinity and beyond.